Hello and welcome. My name is Alex, and this is Journeys Through Time, episode 22. And if this is the first time you've come across me, um, well, this is my story through time of my business experiences, the challenges and the solutions that I've applied. So if you wish to see it from the beginning, please like and subscribe and watch the journey so far. If you're coming back, welcome. As I said, this is episode 22. In episode 21, I was summarizing the importance of the year I took of self-realization, because that's, it plays an important part. Your past is not necessarily the path you're going to take. In this episode, I wanted to touch on 7 books and counting that have meant something to me at various points along this journey. So here goes. I will drop the more details in the notes if you wish to have a look at them, but I will just go through the titles and some of the main points. So book number 1 was called One Page Marketing. And the thing that caught my interest here was it teaches you to summarize your project and all the things that go with it, and get into the habit of being able to do it on a single page. Now, it doesn't mean that your entire project is on a single page. I like to think of it as a stack with a single page on top. And I just think I found it a very interesting way to look at it, rather than, looking at something that on the surface looks very scary and very big. But to summarize all the main points and what you're trying to achieve on a single page works well. And I found it works well across a range of activity for any project, in fact. The second book is called The Energy of Money. Yeah, money can dominate our lives, particularly in this advanced society that we live in. And really, money is only an exchange of value. It doesn't really exist in its own right. And in terms of money received, it's really about, the value, the value you give is more important, as it's something that leads to something in return. So it's worth remembering that money is really essentially an exchange of value. The next book, The 4-Hour Working Week. Yes, an interesting title. The title itself was enough to catch my attention. And of course, it's true, there's only 24 hours in a day. But when it comes to running any kind of business, there's only one of you, isn't there? Until there isn't just one of you. And the question you need to ask yourself is, what's your time worth? How do you value your time? And how can you make your time more efficient? Well, there's two main tracks that I got out of this book. Was that one, you can improve efficiency by blocking, by doing time blocking. So, the biggest distraction we face today, or at least one of them, is having a little brick nearby that pings and makes noises and tries to interrupt us every second of the day. By moving that door stopper somewhere else in your blocked time, you can focus more efficiently on what's at hand, working without efficiency. But of course, the other thing you can do is to offload time. It doesn't mean you shirk your responsibilities, but what you can do with your time is those activities that are repeatable and you know well, often these are activities or blocks of time that can be done by others. So you can dive into the more interesting stuff more frequently. In a book called The Self-Employed Life, and this is something I've dipped into from time to time. Well, essentially, when you're self-employed, it's an honorable commitment to yourself, plus, your relationship with the world. And the thing that stood out in this book was what they would describe the 5 rings of confidence. The act of attracting people you don't know and they don't know you is one of psychology, because people that don't know you don't necessarily just rush over to you because they don't know very much about you. Yes, there's a percentage you will, but most people need to be nurtured, not persuaded, but nurtured to take a step or two towards you. And it's all about getting to know you, getting to know each other. And that's a really, it really described this particular process really well for me. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yes, a book of stories, essentially, about a man who had 2 fathers, a biological father and a kind of adopted father, on two very distinct routes in life. And really the book is about understanding the different economic segments that are out there and how these segments function. It's not that some of these 4 segments are not needed. They're all needed. But the possibilities that you can move between these segments is possible. So the 4 segments are employed, self-employed, a business person, and an investor. And it comes in a series of several books, all good reads. The Go-Giver, yes, and another book of stories, but it really demonstrates how we're all connected, that really there aren't as many boundaries as we think. When it comes to serving others, we're much closer to one another than we might imagine. And it's really down to how we serve others, going the extra mile, thinking of other people in a different way. People are not transactions, they are real people. And that nicely segues into the 7th book that I'm currently reading, called The 100 Proven Ways to Acquire and Keep Customers for Life. It's a new publication for 2024. And it really goes into a number of areas regarding our language, the language we use, and the emotion we use. Because we want to have meaningful connections. But the thing is, our customers and prospective customers want it a lot more. In fact, in this very busy and confusing type world, they want meaningful connections. So I'm going to discuss this in a little bit more detail in the next episode. So do look in the notes if you want to find out more about these books. I may do more in the future. All right, catch you next time.